Hey guys, welcome back. Today on The Untidy Artist, I'll be doing things a little bit different. Today I'll be doing a video to go along with my basic fairy doll tutorial. So if you're new to making fairy dolls with me, this will help you out with that tutorial. In this video, I wanted to go over where I purchase my fairy doll supplies and the types of supplies that I use. I get asked a lot of questions about where I get them, the type that I use, and I thought it would be nice to have a tutorial that went through all of the different things and put links in the comments below for you. So let's grab some supplies and get started. Now the first thing you'll need is a round wooden bead. I buy these at Hobby Lobby. They come in an 8-pack, they're $1.99, and usually I get them half off. The size that I use is 3/4 of an inch with a 1/8 inch hole. And I will put a link below on where you can purchase these from Hobby Lobby online if you don't have a Hobby Lobby in your neck of the woods. And if you have found them somewhere else, I would love to know in the comments where you find your beads. The next thing you'll need is some floral wire. Now this is cloth covered floral wire. It measures about 18 inches long. I also get this at Hobby Lobby. It's just floral wire covered with white cloth. And you can see I get it in two different sizes. I get it in a 22 gauge and a 20 gauge. Now there are many sizes of wire. The higher the gauge number, the smaller the wire is in diameter, which is super confusing to me. But for example, a 20 gauge piece of wire is thicker than a 22 gauge piece of wire. So you can see the 20 gauge wire is thicker. I normally like to use the 22 gauge wire. It just seems to be the easiest for me to work with. It comes in a packet of 70, so it gives you plenty of wire to make your fairy dolls with. And then the 20 gauge also works. It comes in a pack of 50. You can see that both of these are covered in the white cloth. If you can't find them covered in the white cloth, I do know that they come covered in green, and that will work just fine. Now the reason I like these 2 gauges of wire is they are thick enough to hold the shape of your fairy doll, but they're not so thick that you can't bend them into the shape of your fairy doll. Now if you can't find the cloth covered floral wire, you can use normal floral wire. And I just grabbed this big gigantic pack of it, once again at Hobby Lobby, but just about any craft store will carry it. And you can see the 22 gauge hair is actually more bendy than the 22 gauge that is covered in the cloth. The cloth gives it some extra support. So if you can't find the cloth covered floral wire and you decide to use just plain floral wire, I would probably go, a 22 gauge will work just fine, but I would probably recommend a 20 gauge if you're going to use the plain floral wire. Now another option you have is a pipe cleaner. I've never used a pipe cleaner to make a fairy doll, but I've had a lot of subscribers send me pictures of darling fairy dolls that they've made. The one thing is the pipe cleaner is only 12 inches long, so you'll either be making a smaller fairy with shorter legs, or you'll want to twist your doll and add on a second pipe cleaner for her legs. Now I use a glue gun set on low to assemble my fairy dolls. I prefer the glue gun set on low because it's easier to work with the glue, and also because the glue sets up quickly, so I'm able to make my fairy doll and not have to wait for it to dry in between. I use all-purpose glue sticks because they work well on the low setting. If for some reason you don't have access to a glue gun or you prefer to use a different type of glue, you can use Mod Podge or an all-purpose craft glue. You'll just want to make sure that you hold it into place and make sure it's dry before you really move on to the next section. The next thing you'll use when you're making a fairy doll is some embroidery floss. I use a color for the skin, a color for her hair, and then a color to decorate my doll with. So you have a broad variety of hair colors and skin colors. You can see it's nice and shiny, and it does come in a lot of different shades. So I'm able to use a lot of different fun colors for my fairy dolls. Now, I use the DMC brand. I have found this at nearly every craft store. It seems to work really well for me. It's a good quality, and it's nice and shiny, and just a really easy thread to work with. I have found some other brands. I got this one at Hobby Lobby, and it's fun. It's variegated, and I really liked the different colors in this one, especially with my mermaid fairy dolls. It was fun to use this type for their hair. It's also fun because it does come in a lot of different colors. I've seen some in red, white, and blue, and different shades of green. And so depending on what type of fairy doll you're making, it gives you some fun options. This is a shiny, almost satin-like embroidery floss that I found. It is a little bit harder to work with because it's super slippery, but it gives your doll a nice kind of shiny look. I like using this on my ballet point shoes, on my ballet fairy dolls, and just anything that I want to be a little bit fancier. If I want the color to shine a little bit more and show up more, you can find the shiny, more satin-like thread in a lot of different colors. And then this one, I actually got this on sale, which is always awesome because the specialty threads tend to cost more. But this is a metallic embroidery floss, and this is actually really hard to work with just because it kind of spreads out a lot and isn't quite as smooth as the normal embroidery floss. But once again, it gives you some fun options if you wanted to be a little bit fancier with your doll. Now, one thing I highly recommend is a sharp pair of scissors. And my kids like to steal my scissors, so if I can find my sharp pair of scissors, it's always a bonus. But it just gives you more control over cutting. I mean, you're going to be doing a lot of very small detailed cutting, and it helps to have a small pair of scissors. So here's a look again of all of our basic fairy doll supplies. You'll need your wooden bead, your floral wire, and your embroidery floss, a color for the skin and a color for the hair. So you can see I've got my little doll twisted here, her wooden bead head, the floral wire, and then I take my embroidery floss and I wrap her. And here's one that I've done with a curly hairstyle. I do have a lot of videos of different hairstyles that you can do for your fairy doll. In my basic fairy doll tutorial, you get a basic fairy doll hairstyle. And once you've mastered that, you can move on and do some of the fancier fairy doll hair. And I do have a lot of fun hairstyles that will be coming up soon. And I hope this helped answer a lot of questions. Like I said, I'll have links for everything in the comments below. If you would like to see a tutorial on where I find my flowers, I buy a lot of them just from craft stores, but there are also some that I get online, brands that I really like that I have kind of found throughout the years. So if you are interested in seeing a tutorial where I go through my flowers that I use for the fairy dolls in more detail, let me know. I hope this was helpful, you guys. Thank you so much for your support. If you haven't already subscribed, please do. And if you would like to check out some of my other tutorials, you can do that at YouTube or on my website, untidyartist.com. If you'd like to share pictures of your fairies, you can do that on Instagram with the hashtag untidyartistfairydoll. Also follow me on Instagram for the latest news and upcoming tutorials. And give this a thumbs up if you liked it. As always, thank you so much for your support. I truly appreciate it, and we'll see you guys next time.